Hi, Tom Anderson, day 43 of 100 Days of Thankfulness. Today we're talking about the importance of grace, and also I wanted to talk about why I'm so thankful for another friend that Karen grew up with, Terri Cairns. So, when I'm talking about grace today, I'm not just talking about God's grace, but I'm also talking about the grace that we extend towards each other. I talked a little bit about that before when I was talking about how we should be more accepting of other people and just how we should give people the benefit of the doubt. Now, with the reason, by the way, I'm filming this with the pool table here is because I want to share a story, and the story is actually how Karen and I met. We met because a friend of mine, I was going to shoot pool with him in the basement of Spooner Hall, and he was a no-show, and Karen just happened to be doing her laundry. They have washers and dryers in the same room that had a pool table, and so I didn't have anyone to shoot pool with, so I just asked her, do you want to shoot pool with me? And so that's how Karen and I met. Now, I feel like that was actually God's grace for me in a lot of different ways. One of those ways is Terri. She actually had strongly encouraged Karen to apply for college. At some point, I think she was having doubts about whether she even wanted to go to college, and Terri was saying, yeah, you need to go to college. Here, why don't you apply to the school that I'm going to? And so they ended up being roommates in the basement of Spooner Hall. So from that perspective, we could be talking about God's grace and how I believe that God gave me Karen. But the other part of it is, back to what I was talking about, how Karen had all these friends that were Christian friends. And I feel like the timing was right. I was not a Christian at the time, and so with the situation, maybe if I think Karen probably being surrounded by all of these wonderful Christian women probably would have I can't say for sure how that would have turned out if I'd never met her, but. I'd like to believe that Karen eventually would have accepted Jesus into her life had she never met me. I think there's a good chance that would have happened. But because of the circumstances, Karen and I were able to have a relationship, and that relationship being that we neither of us were Christians, it wasn't no relationship is perfect, and I think Terri saw that that Karen was dating a non-Christian guy, and she probably could have tried to talk Karen out of that, and she didn't. I mean, she was very accepting towards me, and in the same way that Don was always so Don would never have dated a non-Christian, but when I knew her, when she was working at Pizza Hut, I would have considered her still a friend, because she was very accepting towards me, even though we had very different beliefs. So Terri was also very accepting towards me, even though she knew that I wasn't a Christian, and I'm sure she had her concerns about Karen dating me. But one of the neat things when I think about Terri is because we were at the University of Minnesota Morris and we were all from the Twin Cities, on the weekends it was pretty common practice that people would try to find rides to get to the Twin Cities, to get back home, just to spend the weekend. Well, Terri had a car, and she, graciously allowed me to ride along to get a ride back home a few times. And during those rides, I remember sitting in the back of the car with Karen, and she'd be playing some Christian music. And this was actually my first exposure to any kind of Christian music. And I'd be like, it just was kind of relaxing, and I really was enjoying it. And I said, this is kind of cool music. Who's this? And she'd say, oh, that's Michael W. Smith. And so I started, even though I wasn't, at that point, I wasn't like really trying to find out a lot about Christianity. I was being exposed to it in the same way that Karen was being exposed to it through her friends. And the fact that Terri was so gracious in that way, that she just allowed me to be a part of that with Karen. It's obviously I've already told my story about how I later became a Christian. But I just wanted to say thank you so much, Terri, for not just being overly judgmental towards me, and just being accepting towards both me as well as Karen's desire to have a relationship with me. That means a lot, and thank you so much for encouraging Karen to go to college, because my life could have turned out very, very differently had you not done that. So thanks again, Terri.